interest in you completely, here are 7 powerful things that will make them walk away and leave you alone for good. And number 7 is so strong that they'll start avoiding you like a disease they can't risk catching. Many people believe the only way to deal with a narcissist is to fight back, argue, or prove themselves right. But doing that is exactly what keeps the narcissist hooked because it feeds their craving for attention, drama, and control. What truly works is when you become calm, peaceful, and completely unbothered, so you stop being interesting to them. You stop giving them the emotional energy they feed on. And today, I'll show you exactly how to make that happen step by step. Before we begin, let's be clear about something important. This is not about manipulation or revenge. This is about saving your peace, your power, and your sanity. Because narcissists are emotional vampires. They survive on your reactions, your energy, your fear, your anger, and your sadness. As long as you keep reacting, they will always return for more. Research and psychology both show that narcissists believe they own you. In their mind, you belong to them. You're not a person with freedom. You're a source of emotional supply that they can use anytime they please. But here's the truth they don't want you to know. This entire illusion breaks down the moment you stop playing your role in their game. When you refuse to react, to chase, or to explain, they lose control. So let's go through the 7 things that make narcissists lose interest and leave you alone forever. And trust me, number 7 is the most powerful one of all. The first thing you must do is stop giving emotional reactions. Narcissists feed on your emotions like fuel. They don't care whether you love or hate them. What they care about is that you are still reacting, that you still care enough to feel something. When you cry, beg, argue, or try to explain yourself, you're feeding them exactly what they crave. Think of it like dealing with a spoiled child. When a child throws a tantrum and gets attention, they learn that tantrums work. Narcissists do the same thing, only they are adults with the emotional control of a toddler. When you react, they feel powerful. But when you stop reacting, when you stay calm and emotionally flat, they lose control. At first, they will try harder. They will say hurtful things, try to provoke you, even pretend to change. They will do anything to get a reaction. But when you give them nothing, no anger, no sadness, no excitement, they start to deflate. Because what's the point of performing when the audience has stopped watching? This doesn't mean fake indifference. It means you've truly reached a point where their opinions, insults, and drama mean nothing to you anymore. That's real strength. The second thing is to practice total no contact properly. Many people think they're doing no contact but keep making small exceptions. Real no contact means absolutely no communication, no curiosity, and no checking. Experts describe 5 areas where people break contact without realizing it: direct messages, indirect messages through others, social media stalking, driving by their house, or asking mutual friends about them. You must close every single one of these doors. Imagine a burglar walking down a street. He comes to a house with a locked gate, cameras, lights, and a barking dog. He walks away. But if he sees a house with open windows and no alarm, that's where he goes. Narcissists think the same way. They always look for easy access. So if you make it difficult, they move on. That's why your no contact must be complete. Block their number, block their social media, and even change your phone number if needed. Tell mutual friends you don't want updates and don't want to give updates either. But here's the hardest part. You also have to stop checking on them. Every time you look at their profile or ask about them, you break your own boundary. Somehow, they can always sense it. But when you go fully silent, you become invisible to them. And narcissists can't manipulate what they can't see. They can't control what they can't contact. They might test you now and then, but if you never respond, they'll eventually give up. The third thing is to stop defending or explaining yourself. Narcissists are masters of twisting your words and making you feel like you must justify your actions. They'll accuse you of things you never did just to keep you talking. The more you explain, the deeper you fall into their trap. When you defend yourself, you're accepting the idea that you need their approval. You're giving them the power to judge your worth. But imagine what happens when you stop. If they call you selfish and you simply say, okay. If they say you never cared and you respond, that's your opinion. Suddenly, they lose control because their entire manipulation depends on your need to be understood. When you stop caring about what they think, they can't hurt you. You don't need their approval to know who you are. You don't have to prove your goodness, your loyalty, or your love, because to them, none of that matters. This doesn't mean you let lies spread. If someone at work threatens your job, of course you defend yourself professionally. But in personal relationships, the best move is silence. Don't play their game. When you stop explaining, you show them that their opinions have no power over you. You are saying, you don't define me anymore. And that's something narcissists can't stand. The fourth thing is to become genuinely indifferent. Pretending not to care won't work because narcissists sense fake energy. Real indifference means you have healed so much that you truly don't care what they do, who they're with, or what they say. They become emotionally irrelevant. You no longer check their updates, wonder about their life, or hope they miss you. They are just another person in the world who no longer has access to your emotions. To reach that state, you have to grieve. You have to grieve the illusion, the version of them you thought was real. You have to accept that the person you loved never truly existed the way you imagined. Once you process that pain, you gain peace. Then you start seeing them for what they are. Not powerful, not mysterious, but deeply broken and insecure. You realize their cruelty comes from emptiness, their control comes from fear. And once you understand that, you stop taking their behavior personally. They lose their hold on you completely. True indifference is not hate. Hate still feeds them. Indifference means you feel nothing, just neutrality. You stop trying to understand them, fix them, or change them. They simply stop existing in your emotional world. That's when you become truly free. The fifth step is to focus completely on your own life. This is the part where real healing begins. You stop living as a reaction to them. You stop posting to make them jealous. You stop doing things to prove your worth. You stop going places hoping to bump into them. You stop thinking, what will they think if I do this? Instead, you live for yourself. You start new projects, meet kind people, and follow your dreams. You spend your time doing what excites you instead of replaying the past. You invest in your growth, your health, and your joy. And something amazing happens. You start to glow from within. Your energy becomes peaceful, happy, and fulfilled. Narcissists hate this because it destroys their illusion that you need them. They want you miserable, broken, and missing them. But when you are living your best life, their control fades. When you focus on yourself, you no longer have time to think about their chaos. You're too busy building a peaceful life. You stop comparing your success to theirs. You stop competing. You stop explaining. You stop caring. And that peace becomes your shield. It protects you from being pulled back into old patterns. The sixth thing is to stop trying to expose or change them. This is one of the hardest steps because your sense of justice screams that they must be held accountable. You want to warn others. You want to make the world see what they did. But every time you try to expose them, you feed them more energy. Because even negative attention is attention. They don't care if you hate them. They only care that you're still talking about them. When you try to expose them, they often play the victim and twist the story. They'll make others believe you're obsessed, bitter, or unstable. They are charming to outsiders, and they've probably already told people their version of the story. So when you speak up, it often sounds like proof of their lies. It's unfair but true. The same goes for trying to change them. You can't fix someone who refuses to see a problem. Sending articles about narcissism, begging them to get help, explaining their patterns, all of that gives them more control. It keeps you emotionally attached. Their healing is not your job. Their self-awareness is not your responsibility. You can't teach empathy to someone who doesn't want to feel it. When you stop trying to change or expose them, you reclaim your energy. You stop being the hero in their story and become the main character in your own. That's the real victory. The best revenge is living well, not to hurt them, but to heal yourself. When you are happy, strong, and at peace, that's the one thing they can never steal. And now for the seventh and final step. Become completely emotionally unavailable as a source of supply. This is the ultimate form of freedom. It's when you are not only physically distant, but emotionally untouchable. They can no longer trigger you because you've detached from the need for their approval or attention. When they text, you don't reply. When they insult, you don't flinch. When they praise, you don't melt. You remain steady, calm, and grounded. You give them nothing. No anger, no love, no pity, no explanation. You become as still as a rock, not cold out of hate, but peaceful out of strength. When you reach this point, you don't just make one narcissist lose interest, you stop attracting them entirely. They can sense when someone has no emotional supply to give, and they move on. You become invisible to toxic people, but magnetic to kind ones. You start drawing people who match your peace instead of those who test it. Becoming emotionally unavailable is not about pretending to be strong. It's about becoming truly healed inside. It's about realizing that your peace is too precious to waste on people who drain it. When you are emotionally unavailable to manipulation, you are free. You can finally live your life without their shadow following you. So there you have it, the 7 powerful ways to make narcissists leave you alone for good. Stop giving emotional reactions. Go no contact and keep it firm. Stop defending or explaining yourself. Become truly indifferent. Focus on your own life completely. Stop trying to expose or change them. And finally, become emotionally unavailable as supply. This isn't about punishing them or winning. It's about reclaiming your peace, your joy, and your self-respect. When you follow these steps, you don't just make them lose interest. You set yourself free. The goal isn't to hurt them. The goal is to heal you. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can ever do is walk away quietly and never look back. Not because you hate them, but because you've learned to love yourself more. You don't owe them pain, reaction, or closure. You owe yourself peace. When you rise above the games and stop responding to their chaos, you become untouchable. You become the one thing they can't control, calm, grounded, and free. And that's when you truly win, not by defeating them, but by choosing yourself. If this message helped you, keep learning, keep growing, and keep choosing peace every single day. Because the life waiting for you beyond their control is more beautiful and peaceful than you can imagine. When you finally break free from the cycle, something amazing begins to happen inside you. You start to see just how much of your life was spent trying